The Detroit Lions have 20 unrestricted free agents, including some fan favorites like Josh Reynolds. And we're going to talk about all 20, and I'm going to give you my opinion about who do I think that the Detroit Lions are going to bring back. Now, we know that the Lions are all about taking care of their own first, and as soon as they're able to do so by the league, they're going to re-sign a plethora of these folks. And then after that, they'll move on, probably do this first, then the St. Brown extension, then the Goff extension. And then after that, we'll be ready for the legal tampering period for free agency. So expect, if a extension is going to be done with Jared Goff, I don't know, that's kind of tough because we got 2 weeks to have an extension. But from what I understand, from what the news outlets have been saying, is that there have been talks going on with a St. Brown and Goff extension that we could see all of a sudden really kind of come to fruition between now and the start of the new league year. So we'll see if that is the case. But there's already signings happening throughout the NFL and people being salary cap casualties. So it's just crazy how fast the season moves, or the offseason moves, if your team goes deep into the playoffs. But let's take a look at the unrestricted free agents from the Detroit Lions, and I'll give you my opinion on whether or not these guys are going to be back. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we have 20 individuals, and we're going to start with Romeo Okwara. I do not think he is going to be back. As you can see, he will be 29 years old when the season starts. He is a nothing for this team, so I think he is going to be gone. Unrestricted free agent, so we don't have to cut him. Charles Harris, again, he will be close to 30 when the season starts. Hasn't done anything for this team. He will not return. CJ Gardner-Johnson, this one here is a bit, we don't really know what DJ can do. He was hurt he essentially played game 1, game 17, and then the 3 playoff games. I know a lot of you guys don't want him back, but you weren't saying that until after the San Francisco 49ers game. So I'm going to say this one is up in the air. I'm going to say that they are going to try to bring CJ Gardner-Johnson back. Emmanuel Mosley, he will be 29 years old when the season returns. I don't know. I feel like they may or may not. This one is too up in the air. 2 knee injuries, the same injury to 2 different knees, 2 different years, like 2 consecutive years. So this one is tough. I feel like Brad is going to try to bring him back. Now, Halapoulivaati Vaitai, he is not going to return. He's done nothing for this team. We should have separated from him a long time ago. Skip to Teddy Bridgewater. He's already retired, taking a job somewhere else. It's not official yet, but he is already the coach somewhere in Florida for a high school team. Josh Reynolds, here's another one. He just turned 29, so he'll be 29 when the season starts. As you can see, he's the only one with a market value thus far, which is a bit surprising because you would think CJ Gardner-Johnson would have one as well. I think that the Detroit Lions are going to try to bring him back. I saw an article today about the Baltimore Ravens. If that Odell Beckham leaves, then Josh Reynolds will be a target for them. But I think Josh is going to want to stay here. Graham Glasgow, I think he is going to return. He's already expressed that he wants to be back, and I think he's going to be back. Will Harris is going to be a no. As a matter of fact, he's going to be we out of time. Both of those. He is going to be gone. No way. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I think he does return. He was a special team standout. Nate Sudfeld. Oh, I can't do it. I'm having a discussion with somebody. I want to say Nate Sudfeld is trash in the way I was doing it, but because he got injured, I'll wait until the season resumes. Hopefully he is not back on this team, but there's a possibility he could be that third emergency quarterback behind Hendon Hooker. Matt Nelson, I'm going to say no, he is not going to return. Matt Nelson is trash. Romeo Okwara, he is already a Philadelphia Eagle. Jonah Jackson, this is a big one here. I think he is. I just read an article that him and the Detroit Lions are not anywhere near close to contract talks. So I'm going to say that he is going to walk. Jake McQuaid, the long snapper, I feel like he may return. Craig Reynolds, they've already signed a future reserve contract for him, so he is going to be on the team. Kendall Vildor, this one is tough. I feel like he could be a practice squad. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, this one is upsetting because we gave up a 6th-round pick in 2025 for a guy that we rented for 10 games, and he did nothing with his team. So that one is going to be very curious as well. I think only one of these guys come back between DPJ and Josh Reynolds. Only one of them come back. I do not believe that both come back, because if both came back, then we would have the exact same wide receiver core that we had last year. And I think it's time. We obviously need a deep threat, and neither one of those guys can really give it to us like we could get it from outside of the box. Now, I did read an article from, I forgot where it was from, that Josh Reynolds might actually be downgraded from a starter and be replaced by Jameson Williams. So you'll have, which I find kind of how, because you got Jameson Williams, you have, if you go to 4 wide receiver set, you have Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you would have, who are you going to pit? We only have 4 wide receivers under contract. So let's say you have Jameson Williams, St. Brown, Khalif Raymond. Who's going to be number Antoine Green? He's the only other wide receiver under contract. We're going to put him in over Josh Reynolds? I'd seriously doubt that. So I think that only one of those guys returned. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. So just a quick recap of who I don't think is going. I think the only people returning, I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson, potentially. Emmanuel Mosley, potentially. I think Josh Reynolds does return. Graham Glasgow does return. I think Jalen Reeves-Maybin. So what is that? Is that 4? So I say maybe, even maybes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. So I think only 7 to 8 of the 20 unrestricted free agents are going to return to the Detroit Lions. But I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Follow this rule. If you've watched 3 of my videos up to now, you got to subscribe. It only makes sense. What you don't know is that YouTube, the algorithm is going, if you watch me continually, but don't subscribe, it's actually better if you do subscribe, because if you don't, they'll keep pushing me into your face until they do. I'm not a YouTube master, but I'm pretty good at what I do following the analytics. So, if you watched at least 3 videos, consider subscribing. Trying to get to 20K by the start of free agency. So do that. It would make my life so much better. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.